Hello everyone and welcome back to my US Diary official YouTube channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Nick flashes back to smoking a cigar in Brooke's face when they first met. At the time, he introduced himself as Captain Nick Payne. He remembers them getting musketeers in size as he looks out at the water. As Brooke, in her suite, recalls complaining to Ridge the day before that they're not together. Eric harps on Ridge that the timepiece is ticking and Nick wouldn't take no for an answer. He understands that he wants to make good on his pledge to Taylor, but Brooke is the love of his life. Ridge tries to move himself that Brooke doesn't need a man and wouldn't fall for Marone's crap. Eric, wearing a distracting pink button-down and fluffy vest, tells his son that Taylor is safe and predictable, but Brooke makes your heart race. Ridge, thankfully, stops him from going further down that road. Undeterred, Eric urges Ridge to stop chastising Logan for taking the CEO position. Heather reacted and needs to do commodity about it. Ridge knocks on Brooke's suite door, but she's wearing earphones and doesn't hear him. He gives up. Down on the wharf, Nick excessively pulls out a ring box and ogles the engagement ring inside it as Eric appears. The Forester's jaw hits the ground as he realizes Nick's planning to skip right over courting and propose to Brooke. Brooke reads a sweet textbook from Nick as Eric comes banging on the door, agitated and claiming he's looking for Ridge. After she does some gushing about Naples, Eric gets to the point and warns her not to let Nick take advantage of her vulnerability. He aimlessly pleads, "Do and give in to Nick." Brooke says that's who she's off to meet and leaves him standing alone in her room. Finn and Bridget bandy Liam's sketchy surgery. He's more determined than ever to talk to Grace Buckingham moment. They go over the situation and conclude, yet again, that commodity isn't adding up. Finn and Bridget keep repeating themselves until Grace shows up. Finn pastes on his most intimidating expression and questions her about Liam Spencer's miraculous recovery. Rather than face the grand investigation, Grace chirps that they'll just have to trust her, and takes off. At the Forrester manse, Katie takes time out from doing PR to pot stir as she shows up to needle Taylor about Ridge being in Italy with Brooke. It goes over as well as one would anticipate, and they get right to arguing over whether Brooke should be with Nick or Ridge. Katie twists the cutter by declaring that Eric wants his son with Brooke. Taylor, having learned exactly nothing from her once jests, is sure Eric will fail if he tries anything in Italy and that Brooke will come back engaged to Nick. Katie mocks, "You're quite the optimist." Taylor doubles down. Brooke waits for Nick but thinks about Ridge the whole time, so we get another series of flashbacks, including the hourly redefined keyhole reunion in Rome. Suddenly, Ridge shows up and gates her on the shoulder. At the sanitarium, Bill sits in Liam's room while Grace examines his son. Liam cracks a joke in reflections on Bill not leaving the president in days. Bill had to fight the whole family to get in there and isn't leaving. Grace tells Liam how important he has to live for and way away. Bill perches on Liam's bed and tells him he could have lost him, and it would have been his fault. Liam says Luna's gone now. "We're good." Bill's proud of him for saving Steffi. Grace eyeballs them as Bill asks why he didn't tell him about the brain excrescence. "You know I'll do everything in my power to help you." Bill doesn't condemn Liam for keeping him in the dark. Liam wasn't trying to discipline him, he just didn't want to spend their last twinkles together mourning. Bill will do everything he conceivably can to get him through this. The camera kissers. To Grace wiretapping. Liam tells his pater he wants to fight this, and Grace asks Bill to speak alone. They step out. Grace tells Bill she could end help eavesdropping. Now Liam wants to fight. Bill asks if it would be in vain. Is there any real stopgap for his son? Grace replies, "What if I told you there is?" Bill points out she told his son the brain excrescence was inoperable. Grace says if he's willing to fight, she might be suitable to help him. She's been probing an experimental treatment that's in its early testing stages, but the results have been promising. It's not commodity the sanitarium could subscribe off on or indeed know about. But it might be the only shot they get. Bill will subscribe, the quick claims. Grace warns it's veritably precious. Bill will give her a blank check. I just have to save my son. Grace is glad he's on board now they've to move Liam. Grace reiterates that what she's suggesting is parlous. She knows Bill wants to make effects right. He'll have to help her move Liam, who wouldn't survive this brain excrescence else. Bill vows he'll get through to him. At Forrester, Brooke, Eric and Ridge go over Luna no longer being a trouble. Ridge grunts that Liam saved the day. They lament him having brain cancer. Eric asks Brooke if she'll join him and Ridge on their forthcoming business trip to Naples. They sputter about the Amalfi Coast and Ridge says it's a shame Steffi can't go. Eric asks Brooke again if she'll come. Brooke looks forward to making further beautiful recollections in Italy. Once alone with Ridge, Eric urges him to take some time with Brooke to see the sights in Naples. Ridge reminds him it's not a holiday. It's a business trip. Eric chortles about Italy being magical for him and Brooke. Ridge suggests they just let Brooke enjoy her time without stress, especially with Nick Marone smelling around. Nick tells Brooke he heard about the firing. How are you holding up? Brooke says everyone's relieved that Steffi wasn't hurt and Liam's going to pull through. Nick's sure Ridge wants to throw a cortege for him. Brooke says that we'll have to stay until they get back from Naples. Nick shakes his head when she says she's going with Eric and Ridge. What are you doing? He asks. At the Forrester manse, Donna and Taylor bandy the business trip to Naples. Donna talks about holding down the stronghold there and Taylor says Ridge is agitated. She also asks the Golden, what about your family? Do you suppose she'll go? Donna knows that Eric would love for Brooke to go to Naples with him and Ridge. Taylor asks if she agrees with that, with everything going on. Donna thinks it's a great idea, but she actually wants to know how Taylor feels about this. Taylor trusts Ridge. Either, she heard Nick Marone's back in city. Taylor arrives in the main office at Forrester as Eric tries to move Ridge's passions about Nick Marone or covetousness. She feels like she's interposing commodity. Eric says he was just giving his son a piece of his mind. Ridge grunts that he respects his father's opinions but doesn't always partake them. Eric leaves and Taylor asks Ridge to set a date for their marriage. They kiss. In the design office, Nick wouldn't let Brooke go down this road with Forrester again. He has business in Italy and wants her to fly to Naples with him. Brooke warns she'll be super busy with meetings every day. Nick will have meetings too, but he'll make time for her. Stroking her arm, he says it's the way she deserves to be treated, especially by a man who really wants to be with her. Kissing her hand, he purrs, "Come to Italy with me." Bill tells his son about Grace's offer. He thinks he should seriously consider it, especially after saying he's willing to fight. But time isn't on their side, he'll have to make a decision. Liam's sensations at there being a chance. Bill says, "If you're willing to take it." Grace enters and Liam asks if this is true. "There's a chance I could actually live now?" Grace tells Liam there's an experimental surgery, she told his father about it. Bill warns he'd have to do it now. Grace says the projectile crack increases the threat, but they'd have to move forward. She's reserved her coworker a ticket to LA and the surgery could be performed hereafter. It can't be done in the sanitarium, still. They can't indeed talk about it. Bill urges his son not to pass up this chance. Liam tears up. He wouldn't say no. "Yes, I want to live. So, let's do it." Grace hands over the paperwork for him to subscribe. She's set up a clinic that's available hereafter and believes in her coworker. Bill says Beth and Kelly can't lose their father. He tells his son, "There's nothing braver than you are. Let's do this." Liam clasps his pater's hand and signs the paperwork with the other. Grace smiles. Liam says, "Hereafter." Bill nods. "Hereafter. The first day of the rest of your life."